As I'm making this video, it's 2023, and September marks the 20th anniversary of this game's release. I've been trying to create this video for around 2 years or so now, but okay, the term "this changed my life" is very cliche, but really, this did mold me into the person I am today, and it introduced me to almost all of my closest friends. I was introduced to Star Wars by one of my uncles when I was around 7 years old. He had pirated tapes of all 3 movies and put the first one on around the holidays. Up until then, I somehow hadn't heard of Star Wars, but I was immediately glued to the TV. I hadn't seen anything like it before, and it looked super realistic to me. On the way home, he let me borrow the other 2 movies since I was so eager. Anyway, fast forward to a random day in mid-2004, and by this point, I'd seen all 5 Star Wars movies that were out at that time, including Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. I was growing tired of my regular games, and I wanted to play something fresh. I started thinking, what would make a fun game? One of the very first things that came to mind was, is there a game out there I could swing a lightsaber around freely? Up until then, the previous Star Wars games I played over the last 5 years were extremely limited in what you could do, so I always had this itch to have more freedom with a lightsaber. I thought that would be really cool. After a lot of browsing, there was only one game that stood out. Yeah, I think that ticks all the boxes. The Jedi Knight series actually spans 5 games, however, the freedom I was looking for was only present in Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy. So I ran to my dad, I said, I need this game, it's so cool, you can fight with 2 lightsabers, you can be like Darth Maul, ah! And he said, something might turn up over Christmas. This was a month or 2 away though, so while I was really happy, I was so eager to play it. And my dad knew this, so a few weeks before Christmas, he just gave it to me. I was so happy. I immediately unwrapped it, put the disc in, and installed the game. The first thing I did, picked what I thought was the coolest looking model in the game, grabbed a dual-bladed lightsaber of course, and ran into a group of people, ready to show off my skills. Turns out, that wasn't a smart idea. And then I got slept for laming by the admin of the server, which turns out to be a common rule in Jedi Academy. Fast forward a few days, and I eventually joined what would become my home server for the next 2 years, Clan Warriors. This place was awesome and let multiple clans use it as a home base server. That's when I met him, the guy who changed my life forever, Matt. He was a pretty quiet and reserved guy, who practiced alone mostly. He'd always be in the same areas of the map, wearing his Jawa model and some goofy Christmas coloured tags. He was a lot of fun to fight, and we ended up getting along really well. I explained to him that I was looking to get better at fighting, and he offered to train me for a little while. After a few days, Matt accepted me into his clan and asked me to wear a Jawa skin, which was a requirement to join. Those early days in Jedi Academy were really special. We were such a small little tribe of goofballs, but we were fully focused on representing our little group on this big stage with other clans. It was truly a survival of the fittest sort of mentality, trying to grow and be the best on such a big public server. Things are going really well, but suddenly, Matt just vanished without a trace. At the time, we didn't think too much of it, but as the weeks started going by, it became quite clear that Matt was really gone. He was the glue that held it all together, so the clan members started dropping like flies until it was just me left. I stuck it out for another month or so, but in the end, I decided to just make myself the leader and try to rebuild things. Little did I know that this was the very start of a 10-year-long journey that would introduce me to most of my closest friends. The clan completely blew up, and over the next 10 years, we recruited over 500 plus people. At any one time, we'd be teetering around 70 to 90 people, sometimes over 100, with server packing events like our monthly Jawa League, which was like a mini Olympics. It was so much fun participating in these things with just the best company you could imagine. The atmosphere in Jedi Academy is like no other. It's truly a social sandbox, but with the best gameplay. Like Discord, but with lightsabers. The social side of the game was incredible. You could walk up to someone, start a conversation, and become friends pretty quickly. For a lot of people, the game was a real escape from their tough lives, and a lot of the time you could feel that in the conversations that were taking place. You could easily lose track of time, and before you know it, it was 2 AM. We'd explore new maps together, make graphics, talk about life on MSN Messenger, make goofy videos together, get mad at each other, make up, or simply enjoy each other's company for hours on end. It was a really special time in my life, and I loved every minute of it. I think the best way I could describe it is like a fun after school club, but it's every day and with no teacher. It was a true freedom of expression in a lot of ways. As expected from groups like these, there was always some troublemakers, but looking back, I would say that these were really needed to keep things from going stale. Most people acting out were completely harmless, and they just had their own version of fun that we didn't cater for. When you're a kid, it's so difficult to see this, and you think, if someone disagrees with my outlook, they must be the worst person. When, in fact, if you took the time to understand them, you'd probably learn more about yourself than you do from them. In 2020, during COVID, I organised a big reunion event for a lot of the older members of the clan so we could all just reconnect. It was truly special, and it was the best time I've ever had in the game, easily. I hadn't spoke to a lot of these people in nearly a decade, so it was pretty wild to catch up and reminisce. It really allowed us to truly appreciate each other and talk about how far we've come in life, thanks to the people that we met in this community. At the end of this video, I'm going to put some quotes from the people that were at that event, and you'll see quite quickly how much we all changed each other's lives for the better. Nowadays, I still keep in contact with some of the people I met in Jedi Academy, but going from speaking to hundreds of people weekly to half a dozen daily has honestly been the best experience I could have asked for. It's really allowed me to find my closest friends who truly care about me. Our small friend group is easily one of the best things in my life right now. We've all met up countless times and travelled the world together. We've been at each other's weddings, and some of them even got married and had kids together. It's absolutely crazy, and it warms my heart to know that something that we all helped build made those life-changing connections forever. I'll always really treasure those relationships, which remain solid through the years. While making this video, something pretty amazing happened in my life, and I want to share it with all of you. One of the very first people I recruited into the clan back in 2005-ish was someone called Dragon Girl, later just known as Draggy. We were really close friends for probably around 17 years or so, but when we finally both were single, we got together, and I'm really excited to announce that we just got married. We're in the process of moving it over to the UK as we speak, so we can finally start our lives together. I love you, Lindy, and thank you for always being there. This is the longest I've played any game, from starting in late 2004 to finishing up in 2017. It's crazy to think how the time has flown by so quickly, but I wouldn't change anything for the world. This game and the community will always be a part of my life, and it really helped me develop as a person. It gave me insane amounts of confidence, which I can only thank my closest friends for bringing out of me. I'll always love this game and all the amazing people I met along the way. Thank you all for everything.